What's up, everybody? It's Mythical here, and I'm about to react to Game Theorist's newest video. Hold up. We solve Golden Freddy. Now, I just went on YouTube just now. I just woke up, and this is legit the first thing I see when I'm scrolling down to see what show watch. I made some cereal. I was trying to watch something, and I see this, so I thought, might as well react to it. What did he solve? So, alright, so without further ado, let's get right into this video. Okay.
Hey, Fats. Yeah, Mom, I found it. Hi, Fat Girl. I was looking for your ice chest. Your ice chest.
Is to solve that's right, Snap. I'm justified in using my favorite film today because this episode is all about him.
What kids? There's kids over there?
Dude's only got like 2 decent images in the entire 6-year history of this franchise. Say what you will about milking this franchise, right? We've milked that image. If only every other character in this franchise with the recent release of Bunny, the 5th Fazbear Fright book, I think we have enough information now to finally put together a quasi-definitive answer on who is in that iconic golden suit, which, gotta be honest, is like the biggest mystery to me in this franchise at this point. Solving this one is like obtaining the first of 3 massive holy grails when it comes to the lore of this franchise.
What? Marnie's girlfriend?
The games, the books, and the spin-offs.
Oh, a different girl?
We have ourselves an answer that not only fits with the established lore of both game and book, but also an answer that satisfies pretty much everything about this character. An answer that irons out all of the wrinkles and frustrations that I've had when concocting past theories about this guy. Or also just fix a little bit of the scabbed over wound of a past theory.
Yeah, that's his name, EDK Demon on Facebook. That's his name.
Have your mind blown? Are you ready to finally have the answer to this mystery that has been 6 years in the making? Well, then let's begin with the Stitch.
What's she
For
saying?
those of you who missed it, the Stitch series is making a small part at the end of each Fazbear Fright book. Now, like an MCU post-credits teaser minus the color-shifting banners. It's about an animatronic suit pieced together from the haunted spare parts of various toys and robots, giving life through the power of human agony. Now, when
girl
it's
is
alive, the
this?
creature is wandering the city, collecting more haunted toys, and killing people with its zappy hands, sucking their bodies dry and making them cry oily black tears. And up to this point, that's pretty much all we knew about this monstrosity. The reason we're doing this thing is to prove the existence of remnants and how it works via negative emotions. Maybe you said
If they want to come, they better have their mama pay for them and bring them. Who said that?
Very.
Oh, yes.
Both their souls are infused into the same endoskeleton. Jake is the only one able to move the Stitch Raid's body. He's also the only one capable of seeing the outside world. Andrew is blind to it all. Kind of like those 2-man horse costumes. You never want to wind up being a in those things, especially in It's no wonder Andrew's so mad. Every 2 of them is forced to spend an eternity looking at someone else's soul parts. However, it's when they start talking about their former lives that things start to get really interesting. So again, my questions are but you do remember wanting to get back to some of the I think that next week's we got into a story.
Yeah.
Custom Night first came out, we realized that the entire game was William Afton trapped in a fiery hex cycle, a constant cycle of torture and torment that began with his defects, or should I say, one victim in particular, the spirit of Freddy. Sure, he was called by many names: the one you should not kill, the vengeful spirit. In the end, the doom would possibly be the meeting 50-year release revealed that Golden Freddy was the perpetrator. Refusing to move on into his afterlife. And here, Andrew is pretty much confirming exactly that. Sounds like a bunch of children celebrating. It looks like a book is that with the custom night, we assumed that he died in the one that was set at the end of FNAF 6, the one meant to bring the whole series to a close. I mean, how could he not be dead? Henry, you have that awesome Yet here, Andrew says that he was actively keeping his killer alive against everyone's attempts on his life. So does that mean that Ashton still... No!
Always come back.
He attack, he protect, he always come back. But just because William may have been kept alive in the book lore doesn't necessarily mean that he was left alive in the lore too. Fast forward to what was originally supposed to be the 5th and final installment in the Fazbear's Fright series. A literal 5 books at Freddy's. Until of course it got extended and now we have ourselves bonus 6th and 7th grade books. And for the first 2 stories in this world, worth talking about today, it's the 3rd one. The Man in about a mysterious man that's burned well beyond the point of death, and yet somehow he remained alive. Man had no face. Hole skull indicated where his nose used to be. Dark, cavernous pits lacking eyes lifted mouth. A toothless mouth, lips to protect it. We'd be remiss if we didn't warn you, the nurse said. We know what that is. Evil, Father Blythe. Evil. In fact, the hospital staff is so convinced that he's the embodiment of evil that they tried to kill him multiple times, via injections, via smothering, via seances, but nothing will do it. He cannot be killed, but not for the reasons that you would expect. It's not an iron will to live or the remnant that's flowing through his veins that's keeping him alive. It's a ghost. Each attempt on the patient's life is thwarted by the ghost of a boy with curly black hair wearing an alligator mask. In fact, the two seem to be intertwined with each other. The story informs us about the patient's brain patterns, and they're a bit unusual. Quote, according to the hospital's sleep expert, that particular REM pattern indicates nightmares. Horrific nightmares. See, there and there, the nurse pointed at one part of the brain scan. 2 signals means 2 living things, 2 entities. They're both vying for control of the brain, but they're at odds with each other. We think they're tormenting each other. Sounds a bit like Andrew, right? Andrew attached himself to the man who killed him and refuses to let him die so he can torment him, which is the exact relationship between the vengeful spirit and William Afton in the games. And if there was any doubt about who this mysterious man in the hospital is, the patient wants to go to a Fazbear distribution center, and we're told that the Stitch Raid mystery is somehow tied to a mysterious fire involving Freddy's and the former owners of the business. Every which way to Sunday, this is our William Afton stand-in for these books. Andrew is our vengeful spirit stand-in, and it feels like the book is trying to tell us that Custom Night wasn't purgatory or heck, it was Afton's living nightmare as he was laying in a hospital bed recovering. William Afton may still be alive, or maybe he was alive and then he eventually explodes. Yeah, the story ends with William's carcass being wheeled out to the Fazbear distribution center, and then it literally blows up like a bomb. It is just as gross and gory and disgusting as you would expect it to be. Maybe it's a good thing that these books don't have pictures. My personal guess is that this is what releases the angry...
I'm a Verizon engineer, and I'm part of the team building 5G ultra wideband. Available in parts of select cities.
And it's rolling out.
Well, I was not expecting this to happen.
Grew into lots of other toys like Fetch and Plush Trap, and it may also also be how Afton's soul gets itself into a computer chip that eventually gives life to a glitch trap. Okay, this has been a lot about Afton, and I promised that this would be a mega theory about Golden Freddy. So how does it all connect together? Well, notice how I described Andrew's ghost, a boy with curly black hair and an alligator nose. It's the same hair as the mysterious dead body found inside Golden Freddy's suit back in Fazbear Frights #3. Quote from that book. Down low, past his arm, Devin could see a body, a dead body, but it wasn't exactly like he thought he'd find. This one had curly black hair. The lore of this series doesn't tend to give us a lot, but one thing it tends to keep relatively consistent is hair. So knowing that Andrew is an angry spirit with curly black hair, and that Golden Freddy has a body inside of it with curly black hair, Andrew is pretty clearly our Golden Freddy kid, which makes things related to Andrew roughly related to Cassidy back in the games. Want even more of a connection between the two of them? The name Cassidy is derived from an Irish surname meaning clever or curly haired. Actually owe that little factoid to Redditor Shrek the First. Good find on that one. I actually would have never thought to look into the name Cassidy. So even though Andrew may not be named Cassidy in the books, he is still representing the origin of the name through his hair. Now, here is why all of this matters. Follow me on this. Both Andrew in the books and Cassidy in the games are missing children's incident victims, stuffed inside of suits and angry enough to keep their killer in a purgatory state so he can be tortured. Seems like a pretty slam dunk connection there. We know that up to this point, the books have been hinting at the fact that Golden Freddy may have more than one soul inside of him. And in these stories, we see Andrew actively upset that he has to share an endoskeleton with another dead kid. So is it possible that in the games, Golden Freddy is possessed by both Cassidy and the Bite of 83 victim, vengeful spirit and the crime child, just like Andrew sharing a body with Jake in the books? After all, we know via clues in the text, as well as book number 6's description, that his endoskeleton mate Jake is a nice kid who died tragically in a hospital. We know that the crime child is also a nice kid who dies tragically in a hospital, even though he got bitten before, but you know. Now, admittedly, that alone is a weak sauce connection, I admit it. What's not weak sauce, though, is that evidence is actually out there to prove that two spirits are in Golden Freddy. So last month we proved that Foxy Bro is definitely Michael Afton. Huge confirmation from the series, but that came with a set of problems, specifically in the form of the security logbook. The problem is that the spirit Cassidy in the book seems to be talking to Mike about things that only apply to the Bite of 83 victim, saying things like the party was for you, and talking about his plastic purple telephone. It doesn't make sense if Cassidy is talking to Michael Afton. But what if Cassidy isn't talking to Mike? What if Cassidy is having a conversation with someone else, with a second spirit? The logbook doesn't just have one person in it, it has two. This was brought to my attention by a comment on YouTube from Inky, who says it's not useful reading the YouTube comments, right? Quote, I direct you now to pages 89 and 109, where we see a spirit replying to Fated's questions through altering the text existing in the book. Therefore, we know that Fated is not talking to Mike, but talking to Mike's brother, who is also in the logbook. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I gotta say, that is the best TED Talk I've ever seen. Definitely beats the one about how to dry your hands using a single paper towel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And Inky Ink isn't wrong here either. I went back to double check. One of the things the Fated text says is that the party was for you. And right there on page 89 is the answer, it was for me. A statement and an acknowledgement of that statement. A conversation. Two spirits, one book. Two spirits, one animatronic. For years, I have been frustrated by the fact that the crying child, the bite victim of 83, would have made the most sense to pass into the Golden Freddy body, but it never lined up with the fact that 5 kids died during the missing children's incident, and that one of them would have had to have gone on to possess Golden Freddy. But now we have a solution to both of those things. Golden Freddy can still have the bite victim in him, one that says, it's me when he sees his brother working as a security guard. But it can also have a second spirit in it, one who died in this horrific missing children's incident murder, and one who continues to torment Afton long after he's passed on. And the logbook isn't done. Sure, on those pages we see the responses of, it was for me and I'm scared, but we also see the responses of, I can hear sounds and I can't see. It, once again, is a parallel back to the Andrew and Jake situation, where one spirit can see and maneuver the body, while the other is trapped down below the surface, able to listen, but unable to do much else. This feels like the solution to Golden Freddy that we've been waiting for. The problem with him is that we've always assumed he was just one kid, one spirit who we tried to make fit into all the various details about the lore, but it never quite worked. And that's because because it would never work. In reality, you always needed two entities. One, sensitive and kind, a younger brother looking for peace, and one, the victim of a brutal murder, violently eager for revenge. And here's the real twist, my friends, that might not be all. There's one last small detail in the Stitch Raid story that we have to keep an eye on. We learn in that story that Jake and Andrew aren't intentionally murdering people, that when they reach out to touch someone, they accidentally zap them. Jake assumes it's Andrew doing it, but he's wrong. Final quote from the book. I just want to scare people, okay? The zap is killing them. Well, that wasn't what I want. So if what you're doing isn't doing what you want, maybe it's doing something someone else wants. Maybe something else is here with us. You were a hitchhiker on the man who killed you. Why can't someone else hitchhike with us? So it looks like there might be more souls involved when it comes to Golden Freddy, but that's a story for another day. And with that, my friends, it's the last book until next year. There's definitely a few stories I haven't talked about that merit another video or two, but for now, Fazbear Frights and all its numerous lore reveals have come to an end, which I gotta say I'm kind of sad about. These have been a great way to engage with the mysteries of the franchise with the slow drip coming out over the course of this year, like a book every other month. It's been a really cool release strategy. And honestly, some of these stories are the creepiest things. Anyway, I guess the only thing left at this point is crossing our fingers for that new game to come out soon. Now? Game on us or anything? No? Oh, that used to work. Oh well, probably better to wait anyway. Halloween is just around the corner, and there's not a whole lot of other ways we're going to be able to celebrate it this year. But hey, if you haven't checked out these books yet, but are a fan of the series, then check them out using our sponsor for today's episode, Audible. It's one thing to read these stories, it's another thing to hear these stories. You gotta say, nothing is better.
Wait, these stories are on Audible too?
And Audible has great recordings of all 5 of the Fazbear Frights books, not just fully narrated, but also full of sound effects that really enhance the story. It really gets you into that cool, frightened mood, especially when you listen alone in the dark at night. But okay, you already know Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks, and I'm sure you're familiar with how Audible members get a credit to pick a new title every month, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection. But did you know that Audible is currently giving back to the world in a big way? I actually really love this new initiative of theirs, and I'm really glad that they're letting me talk about it here. Basically, Audible recognizes...
Alright guys, that's it for the video. It's just, the rest of it is just a sponsor. I'm obviously going to finish it because I'm trying to hear what he's trying to talk about, but yeah, there's no reason to record it. So, yeah, that's actually, well, just like almost every one of his other theories on FNAF. I guess it does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, I already knew about the whole, oh yeah, there's definitely 2 souls in Golden Freddy and stuff, but I really need to get these books because I didn't even know that the final book actually came out. Well, I guess the book that was supposed to be the final book. Yeah. Sorry, so I know I didn't talk that much in the video, but I didn't want to talk over him while he's talking about something important because, you know, almost everything he said was important. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell. I'll probably post the Ink Sans fight again if you guys want that, but I don't know. So I'll see you, laddies and lasses, in another video.